Let me make one correction, a slight amendment. The Minister of Tourism for the Democratic Republic of Congo was not able to make it, but Professor Pashi Claver, who's the director in the cabinet and the chief of staff to the Minister of Tourism, has joined us. And I welcome him and Juliana Kagwa as my esteemed guests. Before we get into the conversation, I want to just share a few insights with you, and I would like to thank Aradhana because she's amazing, and she said a lot of, or some of, certainly touched upon some of what I want to talk about. One of the things that I don't think Aradhana shared, but is absolutely relevant to the perception of branding or to nation branding, is our world is changing today more than it's possibly ever changed before, certainly in my lifetime. I've never seen a world in such flux. Think about it. Geopolitically, we all know, and I'll talk about that in a little moment, but geopolitically, the coming of age of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the changes in the UAE pre the war, the power of China, the world, even geopolitically, is substantially changing. Democratically, and of course I'm going to be neutral here, but democracy as a whole is being challenged in our world. The future of democracy is as perilous today as possibly it's ever been. Economically, we're on the precipice possibly of a significant recession. Energy prices have never been, or haven't been higher for decades. And the impact of these changes are dramatic and forced change. Socially, and this is something that I think is often ignored, the power of human connection, the generation that is coming out of university today and going into university tomorrow are entirely different socially than any generation that I think has come before them. And Aradhana talked about technology, and we're all powerfully aware of AI and what AI is doing to the world. But it's what all of this does is dramatically force change. These are images that all of you will be aware of, real estate, of beautiful images of Dubai. A couple of days ago, before I came here, I was driving along Sheikh Zayed Road, going back to the airport, and I was looking at the real estate, and I was looking at the trust that I had, or we had, in that real estate before February the 28th. The power of trust, security, and safety in terms of nation branding is fundamental. It's fundamental, and unless it's addressed, it will erode, and the gap between perception and reality will grow. So how do you drive that perception? Obviously, you have to have political trust. You have to have political transparency. You have to have safety. You have to have security. If you do, you have to have economic stability. You have to have social stability, and you have to have, a transparent government. Without these fundamentals, without these clear societal values that are defined and broadcast not only internally but also externally, you will have a shift in perception in terms of what is the perception of your nation, and of course education. The power of what I call ancillary assets, and I'll go through these quickly because I want to get to this conversation, but the power of ancillary assets. In Kenya we have and have had for years safari. Obviously in Egypt we have the pyramids. Dubai has Emirates, which is a power base. Without Emirates, Dubai wouldn't be the same thing. Singapore has Singapore Airlines. Thailand has its beaches and its people. These ancillary assets are critical to the perception of a nation. Nation brands have to reflect truth. That's the point I want to be kind of our starting point. If we don't reflect truth, there will be a lower perceived value of the nation and a lower strength, a lower brand equity formed from the nation itself. Nation branding is not pretty campaigns, it's not a clever tagline, it's not a logo, it's not a cool ad, or a politically motivated statement or cause. It's not that. Nation branding reflects the truth of the people and culture of the nation we're branding. The higher the perceived value, the greater the FDI, and the more attractive the internal stakeholder investment and belief. And I'll finish on one statement. Nation branding can be a catalyst for foreign and local investment, and it should be, and it must be. It cannot mask the product, the people, or the politics. So, let me start, Juliana, with you and talk about, so Juliana is the CEO of the Ugandan Tourism Board, and let me ask you first, what is the vision, what is the short and longer term vision for Uganda, and how will that play into the nation brand you're trying to create?
All right, thank you, David, and thank you for that very informative, insightful presentation that set us up for this conversation. Uganda, by the year 2040, and I'll be guilty of making the statements you've said, branding is not those long, verbose political statements, but we truly believe, and I will explain why we believe it's not just a statement. We're starting to do the work to underscore it. Uganda's vision for 2040 is that Uganda will be the most premium and sustainable destination in Africa. And it's not just a statement, it's a promise. It's a promise because Uganda is one of the most biodiverse locations on planet Earth. We boast of about 18,000 species upwards of flora and fauna. And so we see our role in protection and nurturing, conserving the environment as not just a tourism facet. We see it as a responsibility to planet Earth. And so the work we're doing in conservation, sustainability, the work we're doing in increasing the numbers of animals that were otherwise extinct in these parts is work that is in service of our brand promise. So we don't see our brand positioning, Explore Uganda, again, just as a tagline. When we ask you to come and explore Uganda, we're promising adventure, we're promising culture, we're promising an immersion into all things Uganda that you might not get in another location or destination.
And I mean, possibly like what Saudi has done with Vision 2030, yeah. And to the incredible power to the Saudi government, and they have a journey. They have a really, through PIF and through various ministries, they have a journey to that realization. What's Uganda's journey?
So our roadmap is very clear, and we've steeped this vision, or we've hedged our bets on 2 or 3 facets, really. It's conservation, which I've spoken about, and the government, together with the private sector, we're investing and putting resources behind all the work in sustainability, so that sustainability isn't also just another word in our strategy. We're starting to live and breathe and really rally behind all things conservation. Just if you will allow me, the story we have on the rhinos, if people in this room would indulge me and just type in the word rhino in Uganda, you're going to read about a story in conservation that really needs to be told across the world. We've taken an animal that was otherwise extinct in the early 80s and grown it to a population that has now had to be translocated to a national reserve park that we've built in service of these numbers. So we nurtured them in a sanctuary and reached, I think, a critical mass of about 48 rhinos. And now we're the proud mothers and fathers of these families of rhinos that we're translocating to a place in northern Uganda where they're returning to their natural setting and roaming freely once again in northern Uganda. So conservation is the first pillar. The next one is community. And the work we're doing, again, in service of building a sustainable tourism sector is recognizing the role of the community in tourism. So again, community-based tourism could be another tagline or could be another statement in our strategy, but we're starting to sensitize, to include the communities that live in and around the national parks, that are essentially the guardians of our wildlife. I think the previous speaker spoke about it. Nature and the wildlife is everything to us in Africa as a tourism sector. And therefore the community and the role of the people in and around the parks, beyond the rangers. And the amazing work we're doing is even converting people that were previously poachers. Imagine changing that mindset, converting a poacher into a ranger. Is evidence, I think, and is a testament to the investment and the focus we have behind community-based tourism.
Thank you, Juliana. I'm aware of time. Professor, Juliana talked about product development and moving, as using her words, from the ground floor and moving up the building in terms of perception. Congo isn't there. Perhaps its external perception, as you, I'm sure quite rightly shared with me, is misguided, there's a huge gap between what the world says about Congo, what the UN says about Congo, and it's at the beginning of a journey, and all power to you and all kudos to you for being with us on stage to talk about the future of the nation brand of Congo. Where are you at? How do you start to get to a point that where Juliana is at in terms of the evolution of tourism in Uganda? How do you go from where you are, or what is the plan to go from where you are to where we need to get to?
David, thank you for that question. But first, let me make 2 points. The first one is to really thank the organizers for inviting the Minister of Tourism from the Congo to come to this event. So we thank you for that. And I think the Minister has sent his regards for the invitation. But his agenda was so crowded that he sent the Chief of Staff to represent him. So I'm here to represent Mr. Didier Mazenga Mukanzu, who is the Minister of Tourism. The Congo is a case study, in my view. Where do you start, David? You start with a vision that gives the pathway towards the future. As you know, most people, when you say we're from the Congo, something comes to their mind about what the Congo, the DRC, is all about. Probably, as an investor, you ask yourself maybe 3 questions. Is it stable? You talked about it as a segue to our dialogue. Stability doesn't mean the lack of conflict. Stability means political stability. Is the governance transparent, for example, would be a measure of that. So what's happening in the Congo? What kind of brand is the Congo? I think we heard about it from you and from the young lady who presented before. Branding is storytelling. So the Congo has got to start telling its story about where they are. That's the brand. The brand is, if you look at the Congo and you see it as a higher risk country, but this is a country of high return as well. So you've got to understand the opportunities that offers the Congo. The Congo is a huge country, it's a continent country, as I tell it. The conflict is very minute, limited to a very small portion of the land. So there are plenty of opportunities for investors to invest. We have 80 million hectares of land, arable land, that can fuel agriculture. We have parks that are listed by UNESCO Heritage, where you can find mountain gorillas, where you can find bonobos, you can find okapi everywhere in the Congo, especially in the Ituri province. So we have huge opportunities to call for the investor that the country is open for investment. It's open for investment because I think our country is sending signs of what's being done. You can open up business in 3 days because we have now a one-stop shop to open up business, to do business in the Congo. In 3 days, you have all the paperwork that you need to do your business. But coming back to the vision is that the president of the Congo believes that Congo is known for its mineral resources, but that's not all the Congo has to offer. The Congo has to offer tourism as an alternative to diversify its economy, to change the narrative, to change the storytelling, because tourism is creating jobs around the world. 1 in 10 jobs in the world is in tourism industry. So if we can do that in the Congo, that has over 120 million people, of whom 46% are young people, 15 years old or younger. So that's an opportunity that you have for manpower, for the investment that can come to the Congo, the investment of the future. We are technology-driven in the 21st century, so we're not going to follow the pathways of those who are already at the top in terms of tourism. We can catch up so quickly with digitalization. So what we have to do in terms of Congo, the vision is, first, we have to build the infrastructure for tourism. We have to identify the potential tourist area. We have a waterfall, Lofoy waterfall. Well, it's 320 meters of the floor, more than what Victoria Fall can offer, which is 87 meters. Of course, the width of Victoria Fall is more, 1,700 meters, I believe. So there's a lot that is untapped in terms of resources in the Congo. And the investors, Congo is open for them to come in. The transparency reforms are being done, not only in the mineral industry, but also in the field of financing. Tax incentives are being given. Customs incentives are being given. All the long-term contracting and how do you protect even the security of contracting is more essential. I had a friend of mine who is from Uganda, he's a professor, who came to Kinshasa for a conference, and he couldn't believe that he can be safe in Kinshasa. He thought the guns are being shot everywhere in the Congo. But here he is now, safe, and he had a different story to tell when he went back to Kampala.
I'm going to have to thank you, Professor. And I think, we all heard it here first. This is the beginning of the future of the Congo, which is, it's a very privileged moment for all of us who are sitting in the room. I think what we learn really quickly, and I want to come back to my distinguished guests, is that it's the people of each nation. I don't like to use words like mosaic or tapestry, but that's what Africa is. It's a mosaic of some of the most extraordinary people on earth. And when we come to the definition of the brand, it's those people that speak it. It's not a national park or with respect to rhinoceros or gorilla. It's the people of the nation that reflect the culture of the brand. Juliana, Ugandan people are, as you've described and is written about, have exceptional warmth, profound hospitality, and deep-rooted respect for tradition and kinship. How do you bring that into brand Uganda?
So thank you again, David. If I speak about Ugandan people, we might not leave this place. So let me summarize by saying we have about 64 tribes and sects in Uganda, and each tribe has its own music, dance, food. You didn't want us to talk about tapestry and fabric, but I wore this for a reason. This is one of our homemade products. Think about the color, the diversity of each one of those groups of people. It's what we offer to the world. When you come to Uganda, it's about immersing yourself in the food, the culture, the dance, and we really are one of the most friendliest people on earth. That, I mean, if you'll allow me, a lot of my friends tell me we are friendly to a fault. If you ask a Ugandan for directions to a hotel, they stop what they're doing and come with you. So this whole time you're wondering why people are even suspicious of us. That's how friendly we are, friendly to a fault. So I would say,
likes you.
the last thing I'll say, because I know we're pressed on time, and this beautiful lady standing here staring at me, I am not intimidated by you. A previous speaker spoke about the big five. That's right. I'll say in Uganda we have the big eight. So on top of the big five, we've got the chimpanzee and the gorilla. And then we've got another amazing great ape, the Ugandan. So we talk about the big eight in Uganda.
Okay, Juliana, I'm going to have to stop you. I just need to give the last 30 seconds to the professor to talk about the humanity that is Congolese.
Congolese are proud people. They are social people. If you come to the Congo, you would see and live that because they will receive you no matter what. They are resilient. Right now, I think they're waiting for investors and people like you to come to the Congo. We have a lot of opportunities that needs investment. If Kenya, who is investing in financial institutions in Congo, has not left the Congo, so the risk is worth taking. They're making money out of it. So we can do the same in other areas. Hospitality. There are hotels, 5-star hotels that need to be built in Rwanda, where the deep water port is being built right now. But they need the infrastructure to really support that system. In Kinshasa alone, at the airport, another hotel, 5-star hotel, needs to be built. Near Kinshasa, another 5-star hotel that needs to be built in the park system that I talked about, ecosystem system that has to be built to make sure that now we can advertise, we can promote the Congo, so you can visit the Congo, so Congo can become a destination for the rest of the world.
Professor Claver, Juliana Kagwa, my deepest thanks. That was a fantastic session. Thank you so much. Sorry I woke up in the